All right, ladies and gentlemen, Schizo the podcast, episode 26. It is a Tuesday night, and we are live on Twitch. If you haven't seen it yet, we are live on my account, which is twitch.tv/Biggie3D. And again, this is a delayed telecast, if you will, on YouTube and Spotify. This is going to be posted tomorrow, Wednesday. And also, we're also recording on Friday, and that one's going to be posted on Saturday. But of course, always, it's going to be live on Twitch. So if you want to see me live, you have to go out there on twitch.tv/Biggie3D, and you can watch the episode. Anyway, a lot to talk about tonight. It's in the Philippines. It's just now, or like yesterday, it was announced that we're going to be on GCQ now. So a lot of people started going back to work. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. A lot of people has their own opinion. But, a lot of people are finally out after 2.5 months of staying at home. Or at least I hope they were staying at home. A lot of people were, of course, going out. And people are going back to work. And I can tell, based on experience, the traffic is really, really bad the past 2 days at least. It's worse than the first, it was worse than regular days, regular rush hour in the Philippines, at least in Quezon City. So there's that, the traffic. I guess a lot of people were like, oh, I've been stuck at home for a long time, so might as well go out. I want to go out. Doesn't matter where it's going to be. It's just good. People are going out. And a lot of them are also going back to work. There's this, 50% are going to work from home and 50 are going to the office. So I don't know how that's going. But if you look at the traffic, it seems like that's not happening at the moment. But anyway, there's also a lot of things that's going on, not only in the Philippines but also outside the Philippines. We've actually talked about this, me and Elwin, last episode about the racism that's happening in the U.S. And it's just blown out of proportion. People who are rallying are actually, well, not everyone who's rallying, but some of the rallyists are now looting. People are going to malls, Louis Vuitton stores. They're setting up fires. They're stealing bags. They're stealing items from the store. I saw one photo. They're stealing PS4 games on a game shop in the US. So there's a lot of things that's going on in the world, and it's really crazy. It feels like the world is going on a frenzy, going crazy. And I think, this is my opinion, I think we have no one to blame but ourselves. A lot of people are pointing out the government. A lot of people are pointing out outside factors other than themselves. But really, when it comes to these kinds of things, situationally, you always have to look at yourself, because in order for you to grow, in order for you to mature as a person, you really have to look at yourself. We have to stop blaming people for all our problems. And I get it. It's easy to do that, to blame other people for what you're feeling, for things that you're going through. But in order for you to grow, if you want to mature, if you want to be better as a person, you really have to look at yourself. Because at the end of the day, that's what you can change. You can change who you are. You can change your perspective. You can change your attitude. You can change how you process things. Outside factors, all those other peoples, the politicians and everything. I mean, we are trying our best to do something, to make some noise for people to recognize the problem that's going on, especially here in the country. Or maybe you're not only thinking locally, but maybe you are also thinking globally. But there's only so much that we can do. The best thing that we always could do is to look at ourselves, to see what we can do to see how we can to see our own perspective, how we can change things with the things that we can control. So that's one. That's one that I would like to get out of my chest. I've been wanting to say that because it's just so crazy right now, uh, especially with last week's. Yeah, was it? Yeah, it was last week's episode. So the 25th episode. A lot of people has negative things to say about uh, my comments or my opinion when it comes to the ABS-CBN. Some of them are okay. Some of them were friendly. I mean, I do have friends who are opinionated as well, and I don't mind that. If we have difference in opinion, that's fine. I believe that, and this is actually a quote that I saw from a game. Uh, it says to have a in order for progress to continue, we need an antithesis and a thesis. So there has to be two opposing points clashing together in order for progress to happen. It can't be just one-sided thoughts coming in and out of yourself. Like everyone's agreeing to you. Everything that you say or every thought that you think is always everyone's agreeing to it. You don't develop anything. It's better if some people try to go against your thoughts, and maybe by clashing both thoughts, that's when you reach progress. That's when you go through the next level by by combining. Maybe your thoughts are flawed, but it also has some positives, and the other person or another idea has some good points, but it has some flaws. And with both, when you clash together, when you clash those ideas together, eventually, it's possible that you get to the next level. You polish both ideas and then combine them. That way, you get to a better point. And I think that's what's very critical nowadays. Um, I mean, all right. There's three things that I'd like to point out in this episode 26. So one is it's just now we're because of social media, because of how Google, how Facebook tend to what we like. All the news feed that you get from Google and from Instagram or from Facebook, they're all curated. So if you like a certain post, what Facebook or Google will do, they're gonna feed you with more stuff that are in agreement to that, or like kind of connected to what you liked before or what you searched before. So what happens is your point of view is kind of curated as well, because all you see now in the process is in agreement to what you searched before. If, like for example, you are pro Duterte, right? And then you like a certain news that is pro Duterte. What Google or Facebook will do, they're gonna feed you more. They're gonna feed you more content, more news that are pro Duterte, because they know, Facebook, Google, they know that's what you like. And that's very dangerous, I say, because you're only fed with ideas of one spectrum. You don't see the other side of the story. What happens is you become very biased, right? And as I've said earlier, you need a thesis and an antithesis in order for you to progress, in order for you to grow. And if everything that you see is all in agreement to you, then that's a bad thing. Second, it's like nowadays, I've mentioned earlier, it's about there's a lot of conflicting ideas. So, like say for example, locally, we have ABS-CBN, and pro ABS-CBN and anti ABS-CBN, or those who are happy with the closure of ABS-CBN. You can probably count me in as one of those who are happy with the closure of ABS-CBN. And we can also look at globally. The latest one is the racism. So like there are those people who are in favor of the riots, of the protests, and there are those people who doesn't want those protests to happen. Other people would say Black Lives Matter, and then other people would say all lives matter. So now what's happening is, and it is true both locally and globally, to those 2 points that I just mentioned, it seems like there's no more common ground. So like if I say Black Lives Matter, it would upset the All Lives Matter people, and then the All Lives Matter people, or the Black Lives Matter people, will be upset to those people who would say All Lives Matter. So it's like there's no common ground to these people. It's like it's either you're with me or you're against me. There's no more common ground. It's the same with the ABS-CBN thing, and I know this firsthand because it's like, so like you can choose to ignore people who are saying things that are contradictory to what you believe. So like I'm saying that ABS-CBN are doing things that are corrupt. So some people will ignore what I say, and just shut me off. So I mean, that's how it is. I can't be mad at that, but it's wrong, I think, because we always need to be in check. We can't just have everybody accept whatever we believe in. We also have to look at the other side of things. I mean, I'm guilty of that as well. Sometimes I only look at my perspective, but I do try to look at both sides so that I am not biased. So that's one thing. We have to look at both sides, and I feel like all of us, all over the world, we are too focused on our side, and what happens is we tend to be angry. We tend to be annoyed to people who are not in agreement to what we believe in, to what we're convicted about. So that's a bad thing, and especially in a time where I think we need to be united as people, because what's happening in the world, like globally, there are a lot of things that are caused by nature, like COVID, all the plague that's happening. Recently, there's an Ebola outbreak in Africa. So it seems like nature in itself is doing things to reduce the population, and maybe we need to get together as people, as doesn't matter what race you are, what country you're from. We need to brainstorm and gather ideas of what's happening so that we can find a common ground, or like a cure, maybe not a cure, but like an idea of what to do, in order for us to combat this thing, in order for us to win against what nature is giving us. We are so much disconnected now, as people, and the more we look at it, like especially the news. By the way, that's the third thing that I'd like to point out. It's the news. So when you look at the news, wherever it is, it could be on TV, it could be on Google. Actually, I get all my news on Yahoo, but it seems like a lot of those sources for the news, what they do is they give us fear. I think we should be hopeful. I think a lot of people who are reading the news, they feel fear, and as Elwin said in the 3 episodes ago, fear breeds fear. So the more we read an article that's causing us to fear, and this is a flaw. We look at more things that makes us fearful. Something about fear that attracts us. And since these news outlet, maybe CNN, Rappler, or like ANC, Inquirer, Star, what are the other, maybe Fox, if in the US, yeah, CNN, something like that. They are all over on the internet. And the way that they make money is from clicks. So they need you to click on their article to read their story in order for them to make money. If you stay longer in their page, on a page where there's advertising and all that, so that's how they make money. And in order for them to do that, they need to create some news bites, some feed, some article that's gonna cause you to go there. And the best way to do that is to create news, to create articles that will make you fearful. Because again, as I've said, there's something about being human that attracts us to fear. And that's really not helping anyone in the world. It's good to be informed, I get that. But if what I'm saying is, if the news is giving us nothing but fear, then people are going to explode. People are going to act on those fears. And if you act based on fear, we're not going to be very wise. We're not going to do very smart decisions in our life. I think the news outlets, they should at least give us some variety, give us a little bit of hope in terms of their content. I think they should give us something like something to be hopeful for. If we are given hope, then we are going to be hopeful for the future. That way we're going to plan the future, and we're going to look at things like, oh, okay, we are experiencing some very, these are hard times, and I am feeling a lot of hardships, but there is still hope. We can still do something. We can still recover from this. If we think like that, we are going to push through. We are going to see a better future, not only for us as individuals, but to everyone, us as a country, as a community. So I think that's what we truly need at the moment. Maybe, I mean, I'm not saying that the news outlet should only give us very optimistic stories, It should be a balance. There should be a balance. I mean, they should give us what's happening, but maybe not give their opinion like, oh, okay, this is the end of the world. Or like they only show us the bad things that's happening. We need to see a little bit of hope. Maybe there's still hope for the world. Maybe I can still go through this. Maybe I can still, survive whatever it is that's causing me pain. I feel like we don't see a lot of that, but maybe if we do, and it's not gonna happen fast. It's a process. I feel like we've been so far at the end of one spectrum, the negative spectrum. I think we're so far from that. We're so far from that end of the spectrum that it's gonna take a long time for us to get to the middle, to get to the point where we are in middle ground. We are unbiased. We are thinking both the positives and the negatives. Because let's be honest, I think right now we are looking at we are always, or like we are almost always looking at the negatives only and ignoring the positives. So we are so far at the end of that spectrum. It may take a long time for us to get back in the middle, but I think it's worth it. I think that's what we need, really. Yeah, it's gonna take a long time, but step by step, I think we'll get there eventually. The only thing though, the key is to not give up. We can't give up in that regard. I actually thought of giving up myself, because I feel like what I'm doing here is just trying to give people a different perspective, especially nowadays. And I think it's necessary. I may not have a lot of followers. I may not have a lot of people watching what I'm doing here, but I think it's necessary. You might not agree with that, and that's okay. Like sometimes your best friend is the one who's gonna tell you the right thing, and sometimes the right thing is hard to swallow. Maybe the truth is hard to swallow, but sometimes we have to hear it. It might not be in agreement to your current thought process or in agreement to your current beliefs or your conviction, but you have to hear it out. Again, there has to be a thesis and an antithesis. So yeah, that's what I think. And so yeah, that being said, I am still continuing doing this, I really love doing this, and I feel like it's something that's necessary in today's climate. Say what you will. I did get a lot of flack the past few episodes with what I'm saying, and I get that. I mean, it's fine. People will have an opinion, and I get that, and I do respect those people who reached out, who told me stuff, and that's valid. I'm still gonna be your friend. I don't mind. Um, it's not like I'm gonna be mad at you because you have a difference in opinion with me. I don't mind. I'm okay with that, and I do hope you feel the same way. I hope we can continue being friends, or we can be civil, even though our ideas are not the same. If we talk about it, uh, at the end of the day, we'll feel like those concerns that we have, our difference in opinion, is too small. Anyway, yeah. So that's episode 26, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for watching, and good night.